So today I'm going to just give you a walkthrough as to the SGE trade that came up on Stockminds on May 6th. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so I have Stockminds open, I have TradingView open, just so I can show you what ends up happening. I log into Stockminds at around 8 a.m. Because 8 a.m. is when Stockminds starts to populate with that day's trade, so what trades to make that day. And it continues to update, continues to change, the numbers change right up until the market opens. So you can see here, 9:29 on May 6th. So this was the prediction come market open as to what SGE is supposed to do. It's predicted to move up, so it's suggesting to buy right at the open, set your stop loss here, set your profits here. That simple. And then it provides you this nice little prediction as to what the movement's supposed to be. So here it's saying it's supposed to move up to 180 at 9:33, come down to 9:40, 152, and then come back up to break a new high of day at 10:41. It shows where you're supposed to sell along that timeline roughly. And it does provide these error bounds. So it's saying that it could end up moving all the way up to 204, but it could also only move up to 168. So that's sort of an idea as to how it's supposed to move, meaning that buying it right at the open is a good idea. So I would just enter my order, or I entered my order in the pre-market a few minutes before the market open. I enter a market buy so that it'll execute right at the market open with an attached bracket to sell it if it goes below 146 or if it hits any of those profits. And then what ended up happening, so here is SGE in the pre-market. Come market open, it moves up to 204 at 9:32. So not too bad, off by a minute, and it hit the upper bound of the predicted move there. And then it came down to 162 at 9:42, 9:40, and it came down to 162, so still within the range. And then it flew way higher than expected to 318, which it was predicted to do at 10:41, and it did it at 10:09. Not too bad. So then you would have all your limits for profits would have executed just as it was predicted to do. And even if what Stockmind suggests to do is if profit one hits, then raise your stop loss up to break even, so whatever you entered at. So even if you did that, it still would not have hit your stop loss, and that's just to protect you so that your trade ends up remaining green even if it only hits profit one. So that's what you would have done if you traded SGE as predicted. Just trade the highest probability trade that comes up, exactly how Stockminds gives it. But being that Stockminds provides a lot of data and there's a lot of different ways that you can trade, you could have traded this differently. So let's say I only wanted to take profit one, or profit two or profit three, or I only wanted to take two of the profits, so I only wanted to take profit 2 and 3, then you could have done that profitably as well. The way that Stockminds is designed is it will give you all the information that you need, even if you wanted to trade it differently. So in this case, you could have traded it a lot of different ways and being successful, but that's not the case all the time. So for what ended up coming up on Friday, it's like almost a month past when this trade happened, but if you go to the premium, there is a lot more data that ends up coming up. So for example, NVOS gives you the probability, predicted movements, when the low after the pre-market high is predicted to be. So if it's closer to this one than it is to this, these two are both very similar, but if it's closer to one than the other, then it's probably more likely to follow that pattern or that movement that it's predicted to do. And here you're seeing two charts. That's just because if it's predicted to move one way and it doesn't move that way, then Stockminds will give you an alternative. So if it doesn't move this way, then it's most likely going to move like this, and it will suggest a trade to make given that. And you can verify, and if you wanted to look at that simpler version that I had up, then you can just flick a switch and it will give you that simpler looking view. You can look at all of these trades that come up on Stockminds. These are all historical trades that end up coming up. So you can look to see, okay, so this is sort of what I can expect if I were to use Stockminds. The idea is that it's simple. So I'm not going to give you any of this technical criteria. It needs to break out of this range and hit or exit the Bollinger Bands or whatever. You don't need any of that. Just strictly log into Stockminds. This trade's very likely. Enter the numbers. Done. That's the trade. And you can trade doing that lots of different ways based on the Stockminds data, depending on what you prefer to do. So you can follow the Stockminds predictions exactly and be profitable. You can only trade the ones that are predicted to move up at the open and be profitable. Only the ones that move down, highest probability, which I suggested. Only taking profit 2, trading as if they're both. So if it's predicted to move up, or if it's predicted to move down, you could still trade it as the move up. And if it stops out, you buy again and enter in the move down. And that is even profitable. So the Stockminds trades are very, very successful in what it's suggesting for you to do. Now, in addition to these predictions and how these stocks are supposed to move, the most likely trades, I know that there's a lot of people out there that like to trade more, even though you don't need to. A lot of these trades happen quite quickly. As you can see here, by 10 a.m. you would have made 24%. But we also have this trades tab, which will give you a whole bunch of other trades that could happen that day. The same thing, when to buy, when to sell for profit, your stop loss, what sort of requirement you're looking for. So you want to wait for the price to come below a certain number before you enter, and the probabilities and how the probabilities perform. So there's lots of different information that Stockminds provides that you can use to your advantage. But for this specific trade, like, that's it. You would look at, okay, this is the highest probability trade. These are the numbers to buy and sell. Enter my order. Done. You can walk away from your computer at 10 a.m. and have made money. So that's it. If you're interested in signing up, then just check out stockminds.world, and yeah. Now you might be thinking, I don't need these trades given to me like this. I don't need it to be that simple for me. And I like to trade a specific way. That's fine. But you'd still want to know a good idea as to how a stock is going to move, which is why Stockminds provides even more information. So if you scroll all the way down on the premium page, it'll give you a candlestick prediction as to how the stock is supposed to move that day. So if you know a good idea as to how the stock is supposed to move, or even if you're using just these simpler graphs where you're thinking, okay, this is more likely to move down at the open to around 105, I'll buy it at around there and sell it on the way up. Or if you see that this is predicted to trail off for the rest of the day, you could buy it at whatever the high is, and then, or you could short sell it at whatever the high is and then just let it trickle and make profit. There's lots of different ways that you can be successful with Stockminds, but for that example, let's see here is the SGE prediction on May 6th for how it was supposed to move. Now, It missed the little spike at the beginning, but it was predicted to come down to around 140-ish. Did not even make it down to that point, but if you were to buy it as if it would, and then set your stop loss at below the 140, or buy it as it breaks above 160 and set your stop loss below, and then you could set your profit at like 220, then that would have worked as well, and you would have left a lot on the table. So you can even just use how stocks are predicted to move based on what Stockminds gives you to make successful trades. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a pretty good deal, honestly. And you can access this platform for free. You can access our Discord for free, where we give live callouts for specific trades, and yeah, like this video and comment, or yeah, comment some things that you might find useful if it were added to Stockminds, or comment things that you would want to see more of.